Hi, welcome to week 4 for new social media. We've had a lot to take a look at over the past week, and I'm going to ask you to go through and do so for this week in terms of what happened with the whole debacle at the Lincoln Memorial, the conflict that occurred between the Covington High School boys and the Black Israelites and the Indigenous Peoples March, those who represented that. Three factions that came together and turned into a real social media maelstrom. I don't know what else to call it. I mean, it was just fascinating to watch this thing go through and unfold. And as I kind of predicted, the show On the Media went through and did an analysis of this. And so I want you to take a look at that for your first On the Media assignment. So if you go to the module and click on the Media 1, open that up and follow the links. The link will take you to the actual show. I want you to listen to the first 2, maybe 3 parts of that show. I think there are 5 parts to it. The last 2 aren't relevant to that incident that happened between Phillips and Sandman, but the first 3 do. They go through and talk about that. And then you probably need to do some research of your own. If you don't know what we're talking about, obviously you need to go through and search that. So you might want to search Sandman, and that's with 2 N's, okay, M-A-N-N. Phillips, Indigenous Peoples, Black Israelites, Covington High School. I don't know how you could possibly not be aware of what's going on within that, but just in case you're not, those are things to go through and take a look at, okay? So I'm framing this under the idea of freedom of speech because really what we're seeing here is a show of freedom of speech. Fortunately, it didn't get any more, it didn't go violent or, and we can ask the age-old questions of, was this an abuse of freedom of speech and so on. And I don't want to go there really because I'm not sure I even know what that means anymore, honestly, with what social media has done to this whole concept of the First Amendment. I don't know what to say there, honestly. I think everybody had a right to do what they did. How we responded to it and what the media did with that starts to turn into something completely different. So there's a number of other posts on the module, Free Press, Free Speech, Hate. This is a documentary by the organization Vice that was filmed during the Charlottesville protests about a year and a half ago. One of the bravest documentaries I've seen, and that gets into an examination of the freedom of speech and social media's influence there. So why don't you take a look at that? Free speech limits online is from the PBS NewsHour that gets into a congressional look at one of the first looks, actually, at looking at trying to regulate online free speech, especially in social media, worth taking a look at. Protecting Protections is a TED Talk I would like you to take a look at as well. What Me Worry is a commentary on CBS News Sunday Morning by the editor of Mad Magazine. And this came out a little while ago, shortly after the attack on Charlie Hebdo happened in Paris. If you don't know about that, you probably need to look it up because we're going to talk about that next week as well. But he gets into the whole concept as well as far as terrorism and free speech. How are we responding to what's happening there? Last are a couple of episodes from a talk show that I host, not to be self-indulgent, Talking Point Live. One deals with the freedom of speech on campus. This is an episode we did about 3 years ago when this was an issue. Still is an issue. It's an issue now, even with our own newspaper on campus. And the second one gets into the concepts of political correctness and thought police. And about 24 minutes into that, I get into also the social media implications there. I'm not going to ask you to write or post or do anything about all these things, but I am asking you to go through and look at them. Let me give you a little hint. I know what you look at and what you don't, okay? A number of you try to go through and sneak through an opinion or two on some other posts without looking at the video. And I know if you're watching the video or not. So just do me a favor. I mean, you're not getting lectured to for 3 hours, 4 hours during the week. There's not a whole lot of content here. The Nada documentary is 1 hour and 7 minutes long, but I want you to go through the stuff, okay? And I might, we'll see. You're probably getting tired of the discussions as much as I'm getting tired of going through and reading them in a way. Not that, you're not all stimulating. You are. I don't know. I might post a discussion up a little later on. We'll see. So keep an eye out about Wednesday or Thursday to see what's going on as far as the module is concerned, okay? All right. If you have any questions, as always, you know where to find me, either through the Ask Me Anything post on the discussion thread or obviously via email. Okay? Have a good week. We'll talk to you later on.